identify if they have any correlation between the exchange rate and the stock price. The second one, we will demonstrate that correlation consistent with the traditional approach of a follow approach. And the third, we will suggest our recommendation. All of these three obstacles will based on our recent aims in testing causal correlation between the exchange rate and the stock price. To prove three obstacles, we will have three main research questions. The first one, is there any correlation between the stock price and the exchange rate in Vietnam? The second one, that correlation is consistent with the traditional one or follow one. And the third is the effective recommendation based on our results. Our methodology will answer the question. The first step, we will be using the unit group, the ATM, the PB, and the KBSS. And if the data has stayed stationary, we will come next to the configuration test by the Chong Heng and Julius. And based on the result of the configuration test, we will move next to the most important test of our result, the rental causality test. We're testing the causality between two variables. All of our data come from the stock price. The stock price comes from the Ho Chi Minh Exchange, and the exchange rate coming from the member side of the State Bank of Vietnam. The exchange rate is collected by the nominal exchange rate. All the data will be converted to the logarithm distributed somewhere, and this will be saved on Excel. So the next one applied will give you the literature review.
For introducing me, what I would like to present to you today is literature review and theoretical model. This step is very important in any research, and it becomes just critical for the whole study. My presentation will be divided into three parts: introduction, review of literature, and theoretical. Now let's start by the introduction. Firstly, I'm going to look at the overview of review sources. The relationship between exchange rate and stock rate is not a strange topic in the world. Many researchers have researched this relationship. However, our study will only focus on research in developing countries and in Vietnam. Basically, there are four groups divided by their reserve: traditional approach or exchange rate causing stock rate, portfolio approach or stock rate causing exchange rate, both approaches and no correlation. There are some typical research which represent for a group of results. All our literature reviews are collected from master, doctor, thesis, and research paper from high-ranking journal. Now let's move on to the issue of stock and limitation. Much literature has tried to examine the correlation between two variables under their current economic circumstances. The author limited their scope not only in specific geographic area, in nation or continent, but also in particular time with specific terms. Despite of the same periods of time, the difference in testing method could lead to the difference in results. So, the limitation of all literature review could be in specific time and particular background for longer-term survey data and testing method. Now let's move to one research that should be in 2006. Our study really appreciates his paper, and we will follow his methodology. This research studied the dynamic relationship between exchange rate and stock rate in Brazil, and he also wanted to find out that which approach the correlation will follow traditional approach or portfolio approach. This methodology follow three steps as unit group test, comparison test, and random causality test. As a result, he has found that there are both traditional approach and portfolio approach in this case. Besides, there are four typical researches of the correlation between exchange rate and stock rate in Vietnam, and we will go through all of them. The first one is completed in 2013, and she discovered that there is a long-term relationship from exchange rate to stock rate by IDF and PP test point duration test and ECM model. The second one is from Henry and we quit in 2013. They estimate the relationship between stock price and two other variables as exchange rate and interest rate. As a result, they have found that there is a short-term relationship from exchange rate to stock price. Now let's move to two other researches which found research no correlation between two variables in Vietnam. The first is from Lexington in 2012. Investigate the impact of some macroeconomic variable to BNSS by applying IDF test, point correction test, and ECM model. And the last one is from Võ Hồng Bảo in 2013. Also use IDF test, point correction test, and VIR model to analyze the relationship between exchange rate and stock price in Vietnam. Now let's move on to the one of the more important part of my presentation. What we are going to do in our research will be shown in this theoretical model. In our research, there are two variables, exchange rate and stock price. Our study will test the correlation between two variables by applying three steps. Unit test for checking stationary, Johansen test for testing coin duration, and Granger causality test for testing Granger causal relationship between two variables. Also, the test will show the result that there is correlation or no correlation between two variables. If there is a correlation, our study will continue to find out which approach the correlation will be more consistent, traditional approach or folio approach or both approaches. Next part will be presented by Hoài.
Data methodology, introduction, data methodology, limitation of our research. We will study the presentation. In introduction, we apply deductive method by testing the known hypothesis. The mono-quantitative method is suitable for our analysis, and we make the observation of two variables in the long periods of time, so it's longitudinal, and the secondary data we will use for collecting the information. In data, the chart illustrates movement of exchange rate and stock price from 2007 to 2014. We divide it into two periods of time because of the significant differences before and after the stock market at the bottom. Before the bottom point, stock price had the big drop to 200 points. So, statement apply the monetary policy to control the economy and reduce the inflation rate. So it's up to 600 points, and then we can fluctuate in each area 200 and 600 points. In overall, exchange rate has little increase before the stock market at the bottom, but the margin was low. After that, the margin was higher and higher by year. The significant point in 2011, the margin of exchange rate was very high. Statement announced to change exchange rate from 90,000 to near 21,000 VND per US dollar. In methodologies, we apply three kinds of tests. The unit group for stationary, the correlation to know the long-term correlation between stock price and exchange rate, the Geiger for casualties. The first guys of unit group test, the ADF, was found by Dickey and Fuller. With the former and known hypothesis, there is not stationary. For testing, we compare these ADF with these alpha at 1, 5, and 10% in the ADF panel. If we press then, we reject the known hypothesis, and if less than, we accept. PP testing in the second was found by Philip person with the formula and the known hypothesis, there is not stationary. For testing, we compare the TSPP with TS alpha at 1, 5, and 10% in the PP panel. And we press then, we conclude stationary. And if less than, not stationary. The KV test is the last time with the group test with the formula and the known hypothesis is stationary. For testing, we also compare the TS KV test with the TS alpha at 1, 5, and 10% in the KBS panel. And we compare president or less than to get the conclusion for non-stationary or stationary. We make the correlation test to know the long-term correlation between stock price and exchange rate by applying the formula was found by John Hansen in Julius. There are two kinds of tests, the trade test and maximum test. With the known type of tests, there is no correlation vector between two variables. We compare the trade on maximum value with critical value to get the conclusion for closing rate. After the examination of coequation, if there is no coequation between two variables, we apply VAR model, and if yes, we apply VDCA model. The known hypothesis for both cases, the first one is average the non-stock price, and second the stock price, the non-stock exchange rate. We compare P value with 5% to get the result for retrace on a set known hypothesis. And for the limitation of our research, the reason why we choose the nominal exchange rate instead of the real exchange rate, we also know that the real exchange rate may reflect the monetary more comprehensive than nominal exchange rate. The lack of information to calculate the variable for the formula to turn the nominal exchange rate to real exchange rate. So we directly take the nominal exchange rate from statement design. So my rate will represent one of the more important part, analyze and finding.
Thank you, Mr. Now, after we collect all data and type of we move to analyze and finding. First of all, if you saw the result of this good test, we can see in this table compared to two times. For the first method in ADN, then the stock price and generate as stationary and got different. For the next method in PPT, the result of PPT is the same with the result of ADN. It means stock price generate are also stationary and got different. Last but not least, for the KBN, then find out the result of the KBN and the value 1, 5, and 10%. We also know that the stock price generate do not have the good. It means stock price generate are also stationary and got different. To summarize on our result of ADN, PB, and KBN, then we make a conclusion that the stock price generate is the requirement that both have stationary and have orderly variation at 1. Now we move to the correlation test. Before we test the correlation upon two variables, we need to find the raw data IOS and AIC. We can see in this table the last order selection for period 1 B3, for period 2 B2, and for full sample B3. Now we can apply that in review, analyze, and find correlation. As we mentioned about the stock price and generate are stationary and have ordering variation at 1. So we can apply the Johansson test to check the correlation among two variables. For the period 1, we can see in this table, overview of change and mass below that the radical below at 5%. It demonstrates there is no correlation among two variables. For the next period, in this table, overview of change and mass at 0 is higher than the radical below at 5%. It proves that the data series of stock price generate are correlated and have one correlating vector. Finally, for full sample, the result of Johansson test in full sample is the same as the result of Johansson test in period 1. It concludes that there is no correlation among two variables. Now we move to the last step of our result. This is the most important step to find the final result of our result. As we mentioned about for the period 1, the stock price generated in the period 1 is not correlated. It means we will apply the VAR model for Bangladesh. This table, all the hypotheses fail to detect. It demonstrates the stock price does not affect the exchange rate and vice versa. For the period 2, we also know that the stock price generated in this period are correlated and have one correlating vector. So we will apply the VDCM model with one correlating vector in Bangladesh. And in this table, the B value of all the hypotheses is higher The result of Ringodet input sample is the result of Ringodet in the base of one. It demonstrates the stock rider and go the generate and vibration. Now, to summarize our results, we move to the last chapter in conclusion and recommendation. In conclusion, to answer the first question, it means the income consolidated correlation between stock rider and generate impulse superior for food sample. For the net distribution, it reflects all across portfolio and traditional. And on the other hand, for the value of February 25, 2009 to March 1, 2014, there is a long-term relationship between stock market and rate based on the result of the net. Now, to answer the last distribution, we move to the recommendation. In this part, we will suggest some recommendations to improve the stock market. Moreover, we also give some reason to explain why there is no consolidated correlation between stock and rate in Vietnam. For the first reason, the exchange rate policy is generally controlled by Vietnam government. It makes capital flow from domestic and foreign money controlled very closely. So, we suggest a recommendation that the management of monetary policy should aim to stabilize the market. To check the capital from foreign investment. Last but not least, for last reason, the stock market is also influenced by movement of investor and market. In fact, the stock market cannot reflect the actual situation of the economy. So, we should get a recommendation that the State Bank of Vietnam should manage the brochure of crypto money better, check and control sound information carefully to investors. So, this is all our presentation about the correlation between stock price and exchange rate in Vietnam. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, I think your dissertation is a lot of steps with the mathematical problem with econometric. So I should make sure that you understand the step by step. I want to question. Okay, Tấn Thành. What is the stationary debt function? And in the end, you draw for me the typical stationary chart of let's say how the diagram look like, stationary diagram look like, and non-stationary, how it look like.
Thank you for your question. To answer the first question, I will define what is stationary. The stationary or stationary data is the average and variance of interest are unchanged with the correlation between the depend on the size of the large size. In previous lesson, we know that to take the stationary, we will distribute with the three methods in ADS, DBS, and KBS. This is the most popular in previous lesson. For second question, you are requiring me to find the graph of stationary and stationary.
How the stationary diagram look like, and how the non-stationary diagram look like, and to run for me the stationary diagram. You know that?
Big question.
You run for me the equivalent that the stationary. Okay? Can you draw out first how the diagram look like?
You think I will provide the hypothesis?
There's no. I mean,
Formula.
how the diagram look like? You got the text correlation between two diagrams, isn't it? Exchange rate and stock price. The diagram will take the stationary, isn't it? How the result of that? Is it stationary?
Now you just draw the stationary how does it look like, or non-stationary how does it look like.
By our research, we want the other research. The stationary is only the part that still support for the board president. We don't forget too much about the masonry impact.
Okay, I got okay, you run this for me. Did you learn that?
We want to put simple or possible.
You open this one, this one.
So now I will test the masonry of the chairway first. I will test the ADN and for S level. Put the gem in the center for the powers. And the last product is nothing for the Italian alarm. Is the result of ADN.
Okay. And now the question, I want to question okay, outline. Okay, what is Fraser causality function? First, you listen to the question. What is the Fraser causality function? That's number one. Number two. Okay, also you run for me causality.
Thank you for your question. The first one, Fraser causality test is the test for checking causality, causal relationship between two variables and stationary and subprime. I will run the
General meaning. Okay, you run. What is Lachlan? Lachlan? What is Lachlan? What is you?
when we add this have the result is more accurate.
Here the answer, the best is this example. How Lachlan? What is it first? What is Lachlan? And how you choose the Lachlan? What is it?
It's a triangle between the using our hand. From this.
Okay, I got the answer.
Actually, after I has the data, I don't have a defined additional causal correlation goes through that yes, with a lot of movement. And it's the identity actually for definition of the systems.
That's me. So again, thanks for giving me this question. So the first one I want to confirm the question here is can you ask me again?
Okay, analyzing the data about the solution that there is no causal correlation. Then somehow those control that is along with the movement. So it's really about how capture value for the data. So I put this in the system.
Yeah. Thank you. The first, I give you this might be the definition of long-run co-movement. This might be we apply the Johnson test, and and so we get the result for a longer movement. This means consider the correlation between stock price and exchange rate in the future. It's the correlation in the future, not now. And the no causal correlation is our finding. This is the final finding from our research.
Okay, the recommendation goes on and said, promotion should develop the stock market in Vietnam, and one of the recommendations is the monitoring of the monetary policy, so that the current monetary policy, and what is the truth of this.
Yes, can you ask me again?
What's good?
Promotion recommendation, even if you develop stock market in Vietnam, right? And the recommendation is monitoring the monetary policy. And I would ask you, do you know what the current exchange rate policy and what is the truth of this?
Yes, because in our reason, the reason why we have the no correlate, no causal correlation is maybe in the first reason, the time is controlled by government. So we give the recommendation to solve this problem. So maybe in the future, the government should aim to stabilize the economy first and try to push the exchange rate fluctuate because
current exchange rate policy.
yes.
Where the current exchange rate policy? Where the current exchange rate policy?
I don't understand this question. So just only 3 working days again.
Where the current exchange rate policy? At the end of so excuse me, we collect the exchange rate from the SBB website in daily, and government official to announce the exchange rate in Recommendation to make so you said that the government should be should have some recommendation rather to be more less for the exchange rate. We don't know exactly what the current exchange rate policy. There's a concern.
It's not, I cannot answer this question because I'm not from understanding the question.
Okay. Why don't you take into consideration of the macroeconomic indicator for instant interest rate inflation, even if that also affects the share of stock price?
In the bottom point, the stock price has a big drop from the big drop to the bottom, and then the state bank applied the monetary policy to control the economy and reduce inflation rate. So as in this chart, it improved the trend of stock price, make it improve. It's just something I wonder why the monetary policy from government make it change. So I make this research to test it.
Question for Indonesia pressure the unit exchange rate USD and USD. So it is another.
This is the first question from you. Thank you for your question. On our research, we using the USD and BND currency. All developing countries, especially in Vietnam, we are using trading, and especially currency is the USD, so we're using the USD.
So let you try another one and have another result.
Because on the training with the medical company, especially in the BS, they are usually using the USD more than another currency because the less currency is very limited. So we prefer to using the USD to improve more our formulation.
Okay, we're going to basically to come up with initially. The researcher will review a variety of children and water information here. So they add different research and regular people's
Thank you for your question. You mentioned that in the Vietnam, what the other researcher in Vietnam or the other one in the not developing country. Okay, in Vietnam, we have according to our literature review, they have two. So I will show you the slide to more so I can explain it. He also told us that they have a traditional approach in the long run. It is really with our research because some of the Vietnamese researchers they using the real exchange rate. They refer that our research in nominal exchange rate.
Okay, and I have a question for you. According to your dissertation, each factor doesn't affect each other, isn't it? If it affects each other, can you measure how it affects?
Thank you for your question. After we take the Geiger calculations, if we have the causal correlation between two variables, we continue to test the long run, short run, or something like linear and non-linear. This will continue after the Geiger test.
How, to be a little bit more in detail, how it's named the test. How?
If we have the causal correlation, it belongs to the traditional portfolio approach. This may be in the mini details, the stock price, the exchange rate, or exchange rate, the stock price.
Okay. Question for Blood. What is the difference between VAR and BEC?
Thank you for your question. VAR and BECM models. These are the model we are applying random test. The difference between VAR and BECM model that's based on the result of the concentration test. If there is a correlation between two variables, we will use there is correlation between two variables, we will use BECM model to test the variable. But if there is no correlation between two variables, we will use BAR model.
Why you have to take natural logs for two variables studies? Why you have to take natural logs for two variables studies?
Our research is based on the EU7 methods, and so based on methamphetamine 2006, as we said before. So when they when we explain that when we use the connect, it will make our result more reliable. And reliable and when according to the talk access test, we must do testing the lag before we move back to the regular test. Regular possibility or result or reliable.
Okay. But last question for you. Explain what does it mean one way when transfer percentage from exchange rate to stock price.
Thank you for your question. We have that when you go from exchange rate to stock price. This means the bad value of exchange rate can be used to quickly for the value of stock price in general. On our we say the record of exchange rate to stock price. Yeah, it means the bad value of exchange rate can be used to the risk value of stock price in general. Thank you for your question.
Okay, we have enough information. Here's your presentation.
Before we finish our presentation, once again, thank you. And we appreciate your question and what you come on for us. So it will help you out life. So thank you.